Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Two strong demon godlike figures suddenly clashed in the sky. A sudden metallic sound was accompanied by a frightening storm as it suddenly swept across the sky. The experts from both parties within a 1,000-foot radius were sent flying by the storm. The blood within their bodies violently flowed in the process. The wind erupted and that golden light giant, which Xiao Yan had transformed into, trembled slightly. He took a step back. That large man named Xian Mo on the other side staggered a couple of steps back. Each of his steps collapsed into many dark, empty spaces. Rat, you do have some ability. Surprise flashed across Xian Mo's face after he failing to gain an advantage in this collision. His eyes were a little grave as he looked at Xiao Yang, who was a short distance away, and coldly smiled. Xiao Yang's eyes swept over Xian Mo. His brows were also slightly knit. The strength of the three great dragon islands was indeed powerful. Their subordinates also included such a powerful expert. If Xiao Yang had not relied on the King Kong glass body, his strong body that had been refined by many natural treasures, and the Heaven Phoenix essence blood, he would not have been able to gain the upper hand in the physical clash earlier. Rat, who exactly are you? Tell me your name. The matters of my ancient void dragon tribe are not something an ordinary person can interfere with. Xian Mo looked at Xiao Yang as he cried out in a cold voice. Xiao Yang completely ignored Xian Mo's cold cry. His eyes swept to the northwest. Two figures were hurrying over from the distance with lightning-like speed. They appeared beside Xian Mo within a couple of flashes. At the same time, an icy-cold voice was quickly emitted. Xian Mo, why are you still wasting your breath? Just attack and capture him. The three great dragon kings will likely be victorious soon. Nothing must go wrong before this. The two who had appeared in front of Xian Mo was an old man in a green robe and an old man in yellow robe. These two appeared extremely old, but their eyes possessed a surging chill. Clearly, they were not merciful people. Xiao Yang's eyes were grave as he studied these two old men. His eyelids involuntarily began to twitch. Based on his senses, he could tell that these two were a little stronger than Xian Mo. They were at the top of the intermediate 2-star Doshing class. HMPH, are the three of you trying to bully our Eastern Xian region, because you think that we have no one? A furious cry was suddenly emitted from the dragon hall soon after the two old men appeared. Xiao Yang sensed the space around him fluctuate, as two white-haired old men with unusually sharp eyes appeared. Xiao Yang, this is the first and second elders of our Eastern Dragon Island. Zhu Li hurriedly came over and explained to Xiao Yang who these two white-haired old men were. Greetings to two elders. Xiao Yang grinned upon hearing this explanation. He cupped his hands together as he faced the two smiling old men. Little friend Xiao Yang need not be so polite. You are a friend of the Dragon Emperor. Naturally, you are an important guest of our Eastern Dragon Island. You have really helped us this time around. My Eastern Dragon Island will remember this favor. A white-haired old man holding a dragon-shaped walking stick glanced at Xiao Yang as a smile slowly surfaced on his face. His voice was also quite courteous. That green-robed man is the first elder of the Western Dragon Island. He is called Zhu Mu and is an intermediate 2-star Doshing. That yellow-robed old man is the first elder of the Southern Dragon Island. He is called Lai Shan and possesses a similar strength as Zhu Mu. Zhu Li softly informed Xiao Yang. These two people, along with Xian Mo, can be considered the highest-ranking commanders of the three great dragon islands other than the three great dragon kings. The three of them are in charge of the offensive against the Eastern Dragon Island. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. His heart was a little shaken. 3 2-star Doshings was a lineup that an ordinary faction could not take out. The ancient Void Dragon tribe was indeed worthy of being the strongest tribe in the magical beast world. Moreover, this was a situation where they had separated. If they ended up unifying, they would not be inferior to the Hun clan, the Jiu clan, or the other super factions. Old Man Qing Shan, are all of you going to continue this stubborn resistance after things have developed to this stage? You should be aware that by continuing to resist, the strength of the Eastern Dragon Island will be completely exhausted. That green-robed first elder from the Western Dragon Island looked at the old man holding a walking stick and coldly laughed. My Eastern Dragon Island will not allow you traitors, who have forgotten the rules of the tribe, to continue on, even if we have to exhaust our last man. The Eastern Dragon Island's first elder, who was addressed as Qing Shan, rolled his eyes and spoke in a faint voice. I will see just whether your tongue will remain this tough after the 3 Dragon Kings finish off your Dragon Emperor. The first elder Zhu Mu from the Western Dragon Island laughed and said, if we count the time, the reinforcements sent by the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe will likely be arriving soon. At that time, the old me shall see just how you are going to resist. Shameless fellow. The ancient Void Dragon and the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe are enemies. You have even forgotten such a hatred. You are unworthy of being a tribal member of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. Back then, the Dragon Emperor had spent effort grooming all of you. Your consciousness has all been eaten by dogs. The second elder from the Eastern Dragon Island grit his teeth and furiously cursed. The expressions of Xian Mo's group became slightly unnatural after hearing the second elder mention the Dragon Emperor. They finally replied a moment later, the Dragon Emperor has been missing for thousands of years. It is likely that he is no longer in this world. As for the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, we will finish them off once we unify. The ancient Void Dragon tribe has been separated for too long. It must be united as soon as possible, yet all of you are blocking the unification. What gibberish! The Dragon Emperor is the one who possesses the true royal bloodline. The 3 great Dragon Kings are partially related if that, yet you dare to proclaim the unification of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. It was because of their selfish desires that they separated the ancient Dragon clan back then. First Elder Qing Mu chided. Xiao Yang by the side gained an understanding of the situation, after hearing this exchange between the 2 sides. All of the members of the ancient Void Dragon tribe wanted unification, but all of them had different ideas. Hence, this had eventually resulted in the eruption of this big war. You need not wait for the members of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. I coincidentally met them along the way and sent them packing. Xiao Yang did not wish to understand the differences in opinion within the ancient Dragon tribe. The only thing that he understood was that he had an extremely deep relationship with Zi Yang. On the other hand, he did not have a good impression of the 3 great Dragon Kings. He would naturally choose Zi Yang. He grabbed the area below with his hand. A human figure appeared in it. It was the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe's Qin Huang. What? Both parties were startled upon hearing Xiao Yang's words. They hurriedly shifted their eyes and caught sight of Qin Huang, who was in a sealed state. You bastard! How dare you ruin the plans of our 3 great islands? Xian Mo stared at Xiao Yang as he furiously cried out. You too, why are you still wasting your breath with him? Attack and flatten this dragon hall. The Western and Southern Dragon Islands' first elders nodded slowly upon hearing this order. Their mouths emitted a dragon roar. Soon after, hundreds of lights came rushing over from a short distance away. They stopped in the air above the dragon hall. The 10 people leading this group possessed an extremely frightening aura. They had all reached the Ban Xing class. The remaining people were mostly above 5th star of the Do-Zun class. Roar. Many dragon roars were emitted from the dragon hall below after seeing the experts from the 3 great dragon islands gather together. Immediately, the rushing sound of wind appeared. Many figures appeared behind Xiao Yan in an orderly fashion. Their eyes ruthlessly looked at the large group of people in the distance. The Do-Chi within their bodies began to rapidly circulate. The atmosphere of the entire area became extremely tense as the experts from both parties stepped forward. Bang! A loud and clear energy explosion was suddenly emitted in the distant space while both parties were facing each other. This sudden explosion also shattered the face-off. Many powerful auras began to charge into the sky. Charge! The experts from both parties seemed to have become ferocious tigers that had descended the mountains with low and deep roars. All of them rushed forward. In an instant, the entire place turned into a complete chaos. An intense chaotic battle erupted. Bang bang bang. The battle that erupted caused one to feel dazzled. Although the number of experts from the 3 great dragon islands was much greater than the eastern dragon island, it was clearly not easy to swiftly swallow the fighting strength of the eastern dragon island. Hence, the battle descended into a seesaw-like stalemate after the battle erupted. Bang! Xiao Yang's palm struck an expert who had reached the peak of the Do-Zun class, forcing the expert to spit out blood and retreat. His body quickly moved as he appeared beside the expert Do-Zun. After which, he grabbed the Do-Zun's hand and used him as a weapon in front of many shocked eyes. He violently smashed this peak Do-Zun into an elite Ban Xing. The frightening force caused the arm of this peak Do-Zun class expert to explode. At the same time, the expert struck the elite Ban Xing until the Ban Xing spat out blood and flew backwards. Xiao Yang suddenly lifted his head after sending that Ban Xing flying. His eyes looked to the empty space in the distance. The battleground there was the most important one. Its end result would determine the outcome of this ancient dragon tribe's war, and would decide the final victor. However, the situation in that light cluster caused Xiao Yang's heart to sink. Zi Yang was tiring. She was being pushed back by the combined attacks of the 3 dragon kings. 2 elders, tribal chief Yao Ming will help the both of you deal with Xian Mo and the other 2. I will help Zi Yang. Xiao Yang's eyes suddenly became sharp as he exhaled a deep breath of air. His mouth emitted a stern howl. A pair of huge green-red bone wings spread apart. Block him. Xian Mo and the other 2 first elders were immediately startled upon seeing Xiao Yang move. Before they could give chase, Yao Ming and the first and second elders from the eastern dragon island hurried over and blocked them. Xiao Yang's bone wings were flapped the moment this clash occurred. A wind lightning sound appeared. His body rushed out of the eastern dragon island with lightning-like speed as he hurried towards the battleground in the empty space. 3 great dragon kings. I wish to see just how frightening all of you are. The long dark golden spear was just like a furious roaring dragon that cut a bright arc in the emptiness before it ruthlessly smashed into the hand of a middle-aged man with a crown over his head. His hand had transformed into a claw. The frightening force shattered a great amount of scales on the dragon claw. The moment that long spear left that delicate and beautiful figure, another figure began to approach in a ghost-like fashion. An extremely sharp palm wind unhesitatingly and mercilessly slammed toward the beautiful figure. HMPH. The owner of that beautiful figure narrowed her eyes when she sensed this sneak attack. Her sharp nose emitted a low cold snort. With a shake of her arm, that long spear seemed to be connected to a chain as it was instantly swung in a soul-stirring arc, forming a semisphere that heavily struck the sharp palm wind. The powerful force erupted and the 2 were forced to stagger back before they finally stabilized their bodies. Ha ha, it is indeed worthy of being the dragon phoenix constitution. Its strength is actually this powerful. This failed surprise attack caused the man to involuntarily let out some praise. He laughed. Xiao Yan. Why do you need to continue this stubborn resistance? Although you possess the extremely rare dragon phoenix constitution, you have yet to mature. You are really being too naive if you are thinking of fighting the three of us alone. Western Dragon King, you should stop acting in front of me. The three of you had taken advantage of my father's disappearance to split the ancient Void Dragon tribe, resulting in the current state of the ancient Void Dragon tribe. It is not too much to say that the three of you are the sinners of this tribe. Xiao Yan's face was dark as a chill spread from her pale purple eyes with a laugh. The three of us also possess the royal bloodline. It is only logical for us to proclaim ourselves kings. Since when can a young fellow like you reprimand us? A somewhat shady-looking middle-aged man coldly stated. Xiao Yan, the losses from the internal conflict within the ancient dragon tribe have been far too severe. Why can't you take a step back and avoid this battle? There was a man in royal robes among the trio. This person always had a smile hanging on his face, giving one a good impression since he always appeared extremely friendly. However, only those who were familiar with him were aware that this Northern Dragon King was the most frightening among the three great dragon kings. Not only did he scheme a ton, but he would also use all means to achieve his aims. The suggestion to work with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe had been made by him. Xiao Yan glared at the Northern Dragon King with great dislike. This person was the person who would stab someone in the back. Back then, the other two dragon kings were tempted by him to separate from the ancient dragon tribe. This eventually led to them carrying out the split that greatly damaged the ancient Void Dragon tribe. Do you think you are worthy of having the royal bloodline of the ancient dragon? The ancient dragon tribe will really be finished if it ends up in your hands. Xiao Yan knit her brows. Her entire being was filled with a dark aura as she coldly cried out. The Northern Dragon King smiled upon hearing her words. He softly said, "Since Xiao Yan is so stubborn, I can only capture you by force. Once you witness the prosperity of our ancient dragon tribe in the future, you will naturally understand what I am doing now is correct. We should attack. Do not continue to delay. The situation might end up changing." The Western Dragon King and Southern Dragon King hesitated for a moment after hearing the Northern Dragon King's voice. After which, they violently nodded. Do you think that I am afraid of you just because your numbers are greater? Xiao Yan's face became gloomy after she saw the three of them were preparing to attack together again. Her body moved and she pulled back. A pair of 1,000-foot-large phoenix wings spread from her back. Those phoenix wings were flapped and a frightening strength rose from them. Attack! These wings caused the Northern Dragon King to frown. A cold cry sounded and his body took the lead in rushing forward. The Western and Southern Dragon Kings followed close behind him. Yellow Spring Finger. Yellow Spring Palm. Their bodies had just begun moving when an explosive cry suddenly resounded from empty space. A large finger and palm suddenly descended from the sky and ruthlessly smashed toward the trio. Who are you, little thief? How dare you interfere in the matters of my ancient Void Dragon tribe? This sudden attack also caused the three Dragon Kings to be startled. They quickly waved their sleeves and a frightening force shot out with lightning-like speed before shattering the Yellow Spring Finger and the Yellow Spring Palm. The trio immediately turned their icy eyes after shattering the palm and finger. Their eyes finally paused on a skinny figure who was flapping a pair of green-red bone wings. This figure remained suspended in the air a short distance from them. Rat, are you asking to die? Upon seeing their attacker, a chill flashed across the Southern Dragon King's eyes as he cried out. Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan, who was flapping her 1,000-foot-large phoenix wings, was also startled because of this figure. Her pretty eyes slid over as a joy quickly flashed over them. Soon after, that joy changed into worry as she cried out loud, "Xiao Yan, what are you doing here? You are no match for them. Withdraw now." With Zi Yang's current strength, she was naturally able to see through Xiao Yan's strength at a glance, an advanced 1-star Doxing. Although this improvement speed was already quite shocking, the opponents this time around were the renowned 3 great dragon kings of the ancient void dragon tribe. "How long do you need?" Xiao Yan ignored Zi Yang's cry. All he did was pose a question. He could tell that Zi Yang was preparing a powerful strike. Clearly, this required a lot of time to prepare. Zi Yang was startled upon hearing his question. She gently clenched her teeth before answering Xiao Yang. 10 minutes. Leave them to me." Xiao Yang gently exhaled and softly replied. "You?" Zi Yang knit her brows. She looked at the somewhat skinny back. The 3 great dragon kings were the top experts on the continent. The western and southern dragon kings had all become advanced 3-star Doxings. That northern dragon king was even stronger. He already had half a foot in the 4th star of the Doxing class. If the 3 of them were to cooperate, even an initial 4-star Doxing would not be able to fight with them. Even less needed to be said for Xiao Yang, who was an advanced 1-star Doxing. What arrogant words! The Western Dragon King coldly snorted. An advanced 1-star Doxing class expert might appear very strong in the eyes of others, but it was difficult for someone of this strength to stir any trouble in front of them. Xiao Yang was without expression. He completely ignored the other party's mockery. Both of his hands were swiftly placed together. After which, many extremely complicated hand seals were formed. At the same time, the spiritual strength on his brow began to stir. "Do not drag things out with him. All 3 of us will attack together." The Northern Dragon King frowned. His naturally cautious self was unwilling to take a risk. Even though the other party was merely a 1-star Doxing, he still insisted that the 3 of them fight with all their strength and kill him before dealing with Zi Yang. The Western and Southern Dragon Kings curled their mouths upon hearing these words. They felt some disdain for the cautiousness of the Northern Dragon King, but they did not utter anything or argue with him. Their 3 bodies rushed out at the same time. Sharp lethal attacks whistled toward Xiao Yang. Kai Kai. The seals formed by Xiao Yang's hands changed with lightning-like speed. At the same time, his spiritual strength suddenly erupted from his brow. It turned into a 1,000-foot-large illusory figure that wrapped around his body. That illusory figure abruptly opened its huge mouth after the seals were formed. A strange and frightening ripple erupted from its mouth like a storm. Yellow Spring Divine Anger. Mao? Xiao Yang was clearly aware of the vast difference in strength between him and the 3 great dragon kings. It was impossible for him to even endure 5 minutes in a head-on clash. Hence, he had unleashed the only Tian-class high-level Do skill that he had practiced, the Yellow Spring Divine Anger. After the strange sound was emitted from the enormous illusory figure's mouth, the empty realm seemed to have instantly quietened down. A moment later, the expressions of the 3 great dragon kings began to gradually change. They had discovered the frightening sonic wave attack that came from all directions at this moment. Spiritual attack. Be careful. The face of the Northern Dragon King was covered with a grave expression. He had not expected Xiao Yang to unleash a spiritual attack. The physical bodies of the ancient void dragon tribe might be extremely powerful, but they were still magical beasts. Spiritual strength was the weakness of magical beasts. Fortunately, there were not many experts in the current Do-Chi continent who knew how to use spiritual strength to attack. However, not many did not mean that they did not exist. An example was Xiao Yan. Buzz. The empty realm began to tremble at this moment. Let's join hands. The Northern Dragon King immediately sensed a giddy feeling be emitted from his head after the sonic wave was transmitted into his ear. He explosively cried out, and the three of them gathered together. That frightening sonic attack had arrived before they could completely circulate their Do Qi. That frightening attacking speed had caused Xiao Yang to suffer a great loss before. This time around, he had caught the three Dragon Kings off guard. They did not have much time to defend against that frightening speed. Bang! The spiritual assault quickly arrived and disappeared just as quickly. The bodies of the three Dragon Kings emitted a deep muffled sound the moment the sonic wave penetrated their bodies. Grug! The three stiffened bodies solidified for a moment. Both the faces of the Western and Southern Dragon Kings immediately paled. A mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. The intense pain of being sliced by a blade continued to be emitted from their minds, causing them to gain the impulse to tear off their heads. Little bastard, I will tear you apart while you're still alive. The Northern Dragon King's condition was slightly better, but his face was also a little pale. His eyes were extremely ferocious as they looked at Xiao Yang, who was a short distance away. His eyes were filled with a brutalness and a murderous intent. Xiao Yang's solemn face revealed a grin as he looked at the vicious eyes of those three individuals. The seal formed by his hands changed. He widened his mouth and a faint voice was slowly emitted, explode. The eyes of the Northern Dragon King shrank the moment his voice was emitted. It was as though he had detected something. He turned his head abruptly, only to see another Xiao Yang appearing a couple of meters behind. At this moment, there was a fire lotus consisting of 5 different colors in the hand of Xiao Yang. This fire lotus was slowly rotating. That Xiao Yang lifted his head the moment they turned theirs. He gave them a mysterious smile. That beautiful 5-colored fire lotus exploded like a beautiful fireworks in his hands. A 10,000-foot large firestorm swept over the sky at this instant. Its frightening temperature caused fierce flames to rise across the eastern Dragon Island, despite it being extremely far away. Some of the weaker individuals were shocked to find that the blood in their bodies had begun to boil. What a terrifying firestorm! The extremely chaotic battles across the eastern Dragon Island became quiet when this earth-shaking storm appeared. Many pairs of eyes were filled with a rich shock as they stared at this firestorm that filled their sights. Even someone as strong as Xian Mo ended up revealing a solemn expression when he sensed this annihilation force. It seems to be an attack unleashed by that brat. The expression of the first elder from the Western Dragon Island suddenly changed. His voice contained great shock. What? Xian Mo's and the other first elders' eyelids twitched upon hearing this news. Their hearts were filled with disbelief. If they were to get swept into such a terrifying attack, they would not survive, yet such an attack had originated from the hands of that advanced 1-star Do Xing. He is indeed worthy of being a friend of the Dragon Emperor. With his help, the Dragon Emperor might have an easier time. The group from the Eastern Dragon Island exchanged glances. It was possible for them to see a joy on each other's faces. This was something they could feel excited about after having listened to a continuous string of bad news. Xiao Yang's figure rapidly pulled back within the empty realm. A jade bottle appeared in his hand while he was pulling back. He quickly stuffed the medicinal pills into his mouth. Having unleashed the yellow spring divine anger, and the most frightening 5-colored lotus flame in a row had exhausted him. Moreover, he had also formed the 3,000 lightning illusory body at the last moment, and took advantage of the 3 Dragon Kings' inability to sense their surroundings after they had been struck by the yellow spring divine anger to quietly appear behind them. Finally, he exploded the angry Buddha lotus flame and completely engulfed the 3 Dragon Kings, within the most destructive strength of the fire lotus. These few attacks that he had unleashed would cause even an expert 3-star Do Sheng to suffer a serious injury if they had been caught off guard. Xiao Yan was clearly aware of the might of the Yellow Spring Divine Anger and the Angry Buddha Lotus Flame. One specialized in attacking the soul while the other boasted an exterminating destruction. The strength from the combination of the two could be described as terrifying. The storm was like a natural disaster in the empty realm, as it emitted a frightening temperature and an annihilation-like wave. Even Xiao Yang did not dare to easily touch these assault waves. Although the Yellow Spring Divine Anger and the Angry Buddha Lotus Flame are extremely powerful, the body of an ancient void dragon is also unbelievably tough. Additionally, the three of them possess extraordinary abilities. It would be difficult to kill them. Xiao Yang's eyes rapidly flickered while he swiftly flew back. Roar! The enormous firestorm in the distance violently shook as this thought flashed through Xiao Yang's heart. Its rotating speed gradually slowed. Finally, a dragon roar that was filled with a wild murderous intent was emitted from the firestorm. They are indeed not dead. Xiao Yang's heart slightly sank upon hearing this dragon roar. It seemed that he was really dreaming of he wanted to kill the 3 dragon kings with one strike. Bang! Soon after the dragon roar was emitted, a dragon claw that was hundreds of feet in size was violently extended from the storm. 3 dragons, which were tens of thousands of feet long, forcefully rushed out of the firestorm. Those large blood-red dragon eyes were incomparably vicious, as they stared intently at Xiao Yang in the distance. These 3 extremely large dragons were the actual forms of the 3 great dragon kings, but their appearances were extremely miserable. Blood flowed out of their enormous dragon bodies like streams. Over half of their scales, which were as large as a human head, had been shattered. Deep wounds covered their bodies like gullies. It was even vaguely possible to see dense, white bones within the wounds. Even though the 3 of them had survived the Yellow Spring Divine Anger and the Angry Buddha Lotus Flame, they had paid a heavy price. Little bastard! This king will ensure that you suffer a fate worse than death. 3 huge dragons lingered in the empty space. An extremely dense dragon might spread apart. It appeared as though the entire world was trembling at this moment. Vicious roars rumbled over this empty realm, like thunder, before spreading into the distance. Xiao Yang appeared, just like an insignificant, and as he stood in front of these 3 humongous dragons, his face involuntarily twitched a couple of times at this moment. The bone wings behind him were flapped and his body suddenly pulled back. The 3 large dragon kings had already gone crazy. He would likely end up dying if he were to fight with them. Bang! Xiao Yang's body had just pulled back when the 3 large dragon kings widened their ferocious large mouths. 3 light pillars that were 1,000 feet wide shot out with a bang. The light pillar contained an extremely terrifying destructive force. It was likely that Xiao Yang would completely vanish if he was struck by them. Angry Buddha Reincarnation. The 3 large light pillars sealed off all of Xiao Yang's paths of retreat. His expression had become completely grave at this critical moment. 4 clusters of heavenly flames were spat out of his mouth. They rapidly swelled and turned into a 1,000-foot-large plate created by a ring of fire. A mysterious energy slowly spread from within the plate. This was a unique Do skill that Xiao Yang had comprehended while advancing to the Do Sheng class back then. The enormous fire plate had just been formed when the first light pillar came rushing over with lightning-like speed. Finally, they collided with each other. Bang! The entire world was quiet the moment the collision occurred. A strange force was emitted from within the circular fire plate, before the light pillar emitted a swoosh sound as it shot backwards. Grug! Although the light pillar was reflected, the force that penetrated the fire plate still caused Xiao Yang to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Bang bang. The other two light pillars quickly followed behind the first light pillar, but all of them were eventually reflected. Nevertheless, the fireplate also exploded with a bang after the last light pillar was reflected. Another mouthful of fresh blood was spat out of Xiao Yang's mouth as his body flew back 10,000 feet. Boom boom. Those three reflected light pillars were ruthlessly smashed into the enormous bodies of the three great dragon kings in front of their stunned eyes. This caused their originally miserable injuries to worsen. Kill him. This wild and violent roar reverberated around the empty realm. Even the most sinister Northern Dragon King had become furious at this moment. The combined attacks of the three of them, the three great Dragon Kings, not only failed to swiftly finish Xiao Yang off, they had instead allowed Xiao Yang to leave them worse off. They would lose all of their reputation if this matter were to spread. All of you will have to lose more bones if you wish to kill me. Xiao Yang once again forcefully stabilized his body. He lifted his somewhat pale face and wiped away the trace of blood from the corner of his mouth. His black eyes revealed some craziness. The three great dragon kings were cornering him to death. Xiao Yang spat out some blood as a madness rose within his eyes. Both of his hands formed a hand seal, and an enormous illusory figure once again covered his body. Mao? A giddiness spread through Xiao Yang's head as the illusory figure appeared, but he continued to clench his teeth. He once again activated his spiritual strength to unleash the yellow spring divine anger. The frightening spiritual strength assault surged once again, and ruthlessly struck the three great dragon kings. At that moment, the giant blood-colored eyes of the three great dragon kings revealed a dimness. Two continuous spiritual attacks posed great harm to them. Die. The Northern Dragon King was the first to recover from this spiritual assault. His large body suddenly swayed, as it swiftly transformed into a human figure. With a flash, he appeared in front of Xiao Yang. His expression was ferocious as he threw a punch forward, which heavily landed on Xiao Yang's chest. Grug? A large mouthful of fresh blood was spat out of Xiao Yang's mouth. His expression was ferocious as he looked at the vicious face of the Northern Dragon King in front of him. A wild smile appeared on his face. A four-colored fire lotus appeared with the flip of his hand and subsequently smashed into the body of the Northern Dragon King. Explode. Boom. A fire lotus erupted once again, and the Northern Dragon King was sent flying back 10,000 feet due to the explosion. Mouthful after mouthful of blood was madly spat out as though it cost nothing. He did not expect Xiao Yang to be even more ruthless than him. Xiao Yang had exchanged a punch for a punch. The interior of Xiao Yang's body was turned into a complete mess by the Northern Dragon King's palm, after Xiao Yang had used his remaining strength to unleash a fire lotus that sent the Northern Dragon King flying. Even Xiao Yang's chest had slightly sunk in. Without his extremely strong body, it was likely that the palm from the Northern Dragon King would have caused his body to explode, resulting in his death. Two light figures accompanied by an earth-shaking murderous desire came rushing over while Xiao Yang was struggling to catch his breath. They were the Southern and Western Dragon Kings. The eyes of those two were bright red, and they appeared quite mad. The three great Dragon Kings had been beaten into such a miserable state by someone from a member of the younger generation. Just thinking about it caused the rational thoughts of those two to be overcome by craziness. Little bastard, go and die. The expression of the Southern Dragon King was ferocious. His arm transformed into a huge claw that ruthlessly slammed toward Xiao Yang's head. If this palm were to strike Xiao Yang's head would have ended up exploding into a bloody fog. Looking at the rapidly magnified dragon claw in front of him, Xiao Yang's body began to tremble in the face of such a deadly threat. The heart in Xiao Yang's chest suddenly began to rapidly beat. The strange bloodline hidden in his chest had begun to quietly flow out. It swiftly entered the many blood vessels within his body. Bang! 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 After the feeling of that blood flowing into his blood vessels, Xiao Yan suddenly felt his strength, which he had completely exhausted, completely return in an instant. Moreover, it appeared even stronger than his previous peak condition. This sudden change caused Xiao Yang to be startled. He quickly recovered and was preparing to hurriedly dodge, when an extremely bright golden light suddenly flashed past his eyes. Kai! Xiao Yang's eyes were shocked as the golden light flashed past, because he saw the arm of the Southern Dragon King be hacked off. The spot where the arm was broken was extremely smooth. The shock quickly disappeared. Xiao Yang suddenly turned his head around, only to find a purple-haired figure slowly walking through the air. A liquid-like golden sword slowly flowed through her hands, while a destructive force quietly spread from it. At the same time, a mysterious ice-cold voice spread with a pressure. This emperor will forever imprison you in the dragon prison if you dare touch him. Part 1 end here.